Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and distinguished guests and participants, a very good morning, and welcome to our side event at COP28. I'm Youngju Han from the AFOCO Secretariat, and it's an honor to be here as a moderator for this event, Enhancing Climate Action in Asian Forest and Global Stocktake, co-organized by Korea Forest Service and Asian Forest Cooperation Organization. It's crucial to emphasize the urgency highlighted in the recent IPCC report, stressing the immediate need for robust climate action. So our today's discussions will focus on the pivotal role of forests in the Asia-Pacific region towards climate mitigation and adaptation efforts. So before we proceed, let me briefly outline the flow of today's proceedings. We'll start with opening and welcome remarks, followed by a group photo with all our speakers. Then we'll have 4 presentations, then we'll move to a Q&A session and conclude with closing remarks. So to kickstart our event, let's welcome Dr. Eun-sik Park, Director General of the International Affairs Bureau at the Korea Forest Service. Please give him a big hand.
Good afternoon. My name is Eun-sik Park. I'm a Director General of International Affairs Bureau of the Korea Forest Service. I'd like to extend my warm welcome and express my gratitude to everyone who has attended this event, both online and in person. It is my great honor for Korea Forest Service to co-host this event with the APOCO, Asia Forest Cooperation Organizations, to discuss forestry cooperation in Asia and enhancing climate action on the occasion of the UNFCCC COP28. My special thanks go to Dr. Upakon, Deputy Director General of the Lao PDR, Department of Forestry, and Ms. Martin Jansen, the head of the partnerships ACON at Rabobank, Dr. Pamdok Chen from APOCO, and Rare Plus Coordinator, my fellow, Ms. Ga-young Kim from the Korea Forest Service for their insightful presentation they will soon share. I also express my appreciation to Vice Executive Director Jin Sun-pil of APOCO and other colleagues that took part in jointly organizing today's event. This year's 28th Conference of Parties is crucial in assessing our collective progress towards achieving target of the Paris Agreement and discussing operational details of the loss and damage fund. Moreover, the evaluation result of the ongoing global stocktake are expected to significantly influence the future trajectory of the climate cooperation. According to the current GST assessment, the Paris Agreement is not being adequately implemented in all areas, including forest sector, that urgently need improvement. Recognizing the severity of the climate crisis, immediate action is required in all sections, including forestry. I firmly believe that the Republic of Korea's experience in reforestation and forest cooperation serves as positive examples. This year is very special to KFS because it marks the 50th anniversary of the nationwide Korea Rehabilitation Project launching. So Korea faced a period of severe forest degradation in 1950s, 60s, and even early 70s, when the forests were unable to serve their purpose. After realizing the significance of forest restoration, active efforts for reforestation began. Actually, in 1973, we launched a nationwide forest reforestation project. The Republic of Korea also actively collaborates with the various international organizations such as APOCO, UNEP, and FAO, and ITTO to achieve core global forestry goals. As responsible member of the international community, the Korea will continue in its effort of the International Forestry Corporation for Global Restoration to address climate crisis. I think this event is very meaningful and timely because actually I worked for the 3 years as a vice executive director for APOCO. So APOCO put their efforts a lot in the climate action plan. So maybe last October, in the General Assembly, APOCO's disclosure this plan. So it's very ambitious, and then many ideas, to help the ASEAN member states to tackle the climate crisis and protect their forests. So I wish today's fruitful discussions and the further development in the near future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Eun-sik Park. Now may I invite Mr. Son Pil-jin, Vice Executive Director of Asian Forest Cooperation Organization. Please give him a big hand.
Distinguished participants and esteemed colleagues, good afternoon. It's great pleasure and honor to welcome all of you to the APOCO KFS side event at COP28 on enhancing climate action in Asian forest and global stocktake. On behalf of the Secretariat for the APOCO, I wish to express my utmost gratitude to the Korea Forest Service for their unwavering support and cooperation for co-organizing the event today. APOCO, together with the parties, observer countries, and partners, have developed and implemented over 40 projects and programs of forest restoration, climate change adaptation, forest disaster management, local livelihood improvement, and capacity building. Recently, APOCO adopted its 10-year climate action plan to catalyze and scale up forest-based solutions to address climate change with members and partners. Today, we are gathered here to share ongoing effort in forest cooperation to contribute to achieving NDCs in Asia and discuss ways to enhance climate action through global cooperation in forest and forestry sector. Through the invaluable presentation and exchanges of views today, I'm looking forward to unveiling opportunities for enhanced climate action through international forest cooperation and public-private partnerships. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Son Pil-jin. So before we proceed to our presentation sessions, we'd like to have a group photo session. So may I invite all our speakers to the front to have a photo session. Maybe we can say 1, 2, 3, tree. 1, 2, 3, tree. Thank you. Thank you for your cooperation. And we now move on to the presentation session. Please now welcome Ms. Ka-young Kim, our EDD Plus Coordinator from the Global Forest Resources Division at the Korea Forest Service on the topic of bilateral RED Plus cooperation. Please give her a big hand.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ka-young Kim, and I am from Global Forest Resources Division of the Korea Forest Service. So I prepared this presentation to introduce our pilot project, which is being implemented in the Asian Mekong region countries. So as you know, the Republic of Korea, we are really manufacturing-oriented industry country. So under the Paris Agreement, in order to hold the increase in the global average temperature to well below 2.0 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, and to pursue our effort to limit the temperature increase to 1.5 degrees Celsius, and also for our goal of the carbon neutrality by 2030. So the Republic of Korea, we submitted the enhanced update of NDC to the UNFCCC in December in 2021. So the updated target, as you can see the table, our target is to introduce total national greenhouse gases emissions by 40% from the 2018 level, which is at 727.6 million tons of CO2. So the target is 40% reduction target. So all of them, as you can see, the bottom side of the table, there is a remover. So we at the KFS, we are really focusing on the overseas reductions. So I think everyone is acknowledging this one. Firstly, there are some multiple sectors bringing the global greenhouse gases emission. So energy has been ranked as a first one, as in emitters, and second one, industry, and third one, AFOLU, which is agriculture, forestry, and other land uses. So from now on, let me briefly introduce our pilot project. So firstly, Cambodia project. It has been commenced from 2015 till 2022 for 7 years. So we put 1.9 million US dollars for this project, but it is still going on and on. But at this moment in 2023, we didn't put the additional finance to this project. So let me get back to this Cambodia project in the another slide. And what I would like to share from the Cambodia REPOS activities is to have the initial outcome, which is amounting to 650,000 tons of the CO2s, which is amounting from 2015 to 19 for 5 years. And second one is about the Myanmar project, and it has been it's being implemented since 2016 till 2023. I said 2003. 2023, though, both governments, we are contemplating the MOU amendment, including the budget increase and project period extension, maybe till 2025. And the unique one from the Myanmar project, it has been designed as a jurisdictional and nesty red plus that we call JNR project. So first project instance is from the North Samari Wildlife Sanctuary, but our long-term goal is to cover the entire Bago region, which could be improved from pilot to the subnational level project in the long term. And last one is Lao PDR project. The target site is in the Dongho Sao National Park, which is located in Champasak province. Actually, we have another delegate from Lao government for this session, and we put 1.0 million before, but we amended the MOU, so the budget has been increased as well. And this is a sort of initial stage, so they are focusing on some sort of field studies such as socioeconomic, biodiversity, and carbon survey, forest carbon survey, including the the FPIC, free, prior, and informed consent for the local communities or the indigenous people as well. And also, we have another new cooperation program between Korea and Lao PDR. So I will also get back to this one later in another slide. Actually, those three programs are being implemented in accordance with the VERA, Verified Carbon Standard. So as you can see, the Cambodia, which that I remarked for with the orange color, the Cambodia Red Plus project, it has passed its first round. So this is at this moment to face the second round, means that they are facing second monitoring for the second verification. And the purple one is Myanmar. As I said you before, Myanmar is almost finishing the validation part. So they registered the project document PD to the VERA, and right after they will be diving into the next phase of the monitoring and verification. And last one is Lao PDR. So as I also mentioned, Lao PDR, they are currently more concentrating on the field studies to develop the PD. And after that, they will also start for the monitoring and verification. So this is the common logistics to do design and implement the project activities. But the direction that the KFS is pursuing for is to go for the subnational or national level Red Plus. So we are pursuing for in accordance with the Warsaw framework for Red Plus based on our special and accumulated experiences so far. And I brought this one to make you more understanding easier. So this is from the Cambodia Red Plus project. Actually, the logistics is a little bit similar, even though the drivers and agents of the deforestation and forest degradation would be different according to the country's circumstances or any field situation though. So for example, we can recognize the lack of the land tenure, so there is no sort of like governance. Then the government will contemplate the forest governance enhancement. So in case of Cambodia, the government and the PMU, which is Project Management Unit, they are making their effort to enforce the forest governance. So they demarcate the areas of the project site, and they also register the community forestry, and they also try to compose and operate and manage the CF management committee as well. And another one is the forest protection. So the country and the people from there, they are regularly conducting the forest patrolling activities by visiting the field very regularly. So they are monitoring the illegal logging, and also they are collecting the data, and they are making some like electronic system to track it. And also if there are some degraded forest areas in the project site, then they are trying to establish some like nursery facility with the water resources, and they are doing the afforestation or restoration from this project. And another one is about capacity building. For example, if the farmers who are living in the project site, their main income is from the agricultural sector. It means that through this project, that to expand the agricultural land areas, we can also provide the capacity building or agricultural technology to make the productivity higher so that they can earn more incomes, and then they will not expand their areas in the forest areas. And another pillar is village development. So under this village development, the examples could be alternative income generation. So in case of the Cambodia, they have the community-based resident enterprises to make their incomes. And also they are utilizing the renewable energy to provide more access to the rural people or people who are living in the remote area in the project site, so they can have more efficient access to the water and electricity. And they have also microfinancing system. So for example, the farmers can be borrowing the money from this system, then they can be purchasing some tools or machinery or materials, and then they can earn more incomes and making higher productivity from their activities, and then they can have ability to pay back. So in this way, the microfinancing is also one activity of this village development. The ideal way is to implement the Red Plus project is to implement it in a sustainable way. So actually, I would like to share the trust fund. This one is the field activities photos, so you can refer to these photos. And okay, sorry. So from the Cambodia project, as I mentioned earlier, they secured the first initial carbon outcomes. So they are selling those credit in the voluntary carbon market, and then they can be getting more profits from those. And then they are putting those profits in the trust fund to reinvest it to the project activities. So this is also one positive outcome that I would like to share. So, as I also said before, this is about our direction toward subnational Red Plus, which is an interim stage toward national level Red Plus. So, based on our accumulated experiences in the Asian Mekong region countries, we would like to develop and implement the subnational level Red Plus project. To do so, this one, I will skip this one because I just brought some words why we have to go for the national or subnational approaches based on the negotiation result. So this one to do so, we actually developed the subnational level Red Plus project in Lao PDR. So the target site is in Phong Sa Ly province, which is really located at the border between Vietnam and in China. So we targeted that provinces for the subnational level Red Plus. So actually, early this year, we had the letter of arrangement with the government of the Lao PDR, and during this COP28, we also had the memorandum of understanding MOU each other to conduct this program. And as referred to the Article 5 of the Paris Agreement, they are highlighting the Red Plus as a carbon remover function. So actually Red Plus is including the prevention of the deforestation and forest degradation. But I think at this moment and in the near future as well, the removers function will be more like highlighted. And we are pursuing for the subnational or national level Red Plus program. But in this procedure, we would like to follow this Paris Agreement, especially for the 6.2. So 6.2 is stating the voluntary cooperation approaches between the parties, for example, Lao PDR and Republic of Korea. So we are going forward this way to conduct the program and also exchange the mitigation outcomes at the later of the program by having the benefit sharing as well. And another one that I would like to share is about the act on the Red Plus activities in the developing countries. Actually, we did act this law in this July this year, and it will be enforced from next year, February. So through this act and law, we really look forward to having more participation, not only from public sector, but also private sector as well. Yes, this is just showing the social, economic, and environmental integrity and safeguard functions. These are three intersectional functions through the Red Plus project that I brought this slide, and this ends on my presentation. Thank you for your concentration.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kayong Kim. And our next presenter is Dr. Upakun Alungsavat, Deputy Director General of Department of Forestry in Laopedia. Please welcome him with a big applause.
Good afternoon. I'm really happy to say some things from Laopedia's forestry sectors. It's the role of the forest and international cooperation to achieving NDC in Laopedia. So my presentation, the content is like this. I will go for 4 main topics, yeah, but briefly, not more details. Before go into presentation, I just want to show you what is the overview of land use. It's important. Now we consider that current forest and potential forest. That is something definition of the forest. So current forest is about canopy covers, is 20% and above, and potential forest is less than 20%. About 10% something that is current forest. Second one is emission and mitigation target sector by NDCs. If you see here, the emission, the total depth emission in 2020 is estimate already is about 53 million ton of CO2s. So land use and forest cover chain is sector. Its net emission is largest among the another sectors. That is really important. This is about 63% of total emission. And now we in the NDCs also we set up the unconditional mitigation target by sectors. That is 2020 to 2030. So by sector. So land use and forest cover chain is about 1.1 million tons of CO2s. As you see that land use LUCF sector is target is if we see this in 2020 is about 3% is less, but if we compare, if we think about 2030 is more. Many things to do about this one. And so far we have achieved, one thing is the institutional setups. So this is really important for the country that we have to set up the the organization. Like we established the national Red Plus Red Plus task force, and then we have also established technical working group across sectors to work together. One is there are 6 groups. One is legal framework. This must be there. Land issues and social and environment safeguards, monitoring, promotion, and Red Plus implementation, and MRVs and benefit sharing. These are technical group discuss and work together to finalize in the country specific. And not only that, institutional, and when you work from national, from the nationals and to the village level, we set up national committees also in the centers, and then province, and then district, and then village level. That is based on our administrative law of administration. The achievement made so far, I don't want to go for this because it's the UNFCCC Red Plus web platform, so something already in the website. So the achievement also now we have GCF is a Clean Climate Fund, Red Plus region-based payment program. So nowadays the concept note it already submitted, and then we have one round MRV results, and then 2015 to 2018 this one monitoring, and then Laos also will apply for second phase after the approval from GCF board meeting in March is next year, so the second round. For the another FCPF readiness funds, Laos is one of the country which join FCPF. I start this work already when I work in Department of Forestry. So we have almost setting up the fundamental for the RED Plus implementation over the countries. And for the FCPF carbon fund emission reduction payment in ERPA is called. For the first monitoring report has been submitted to carbon fund with the emission reduction to 3.2. So it's missing one, 2 ton. And that is 3.4 million ton. We achieve only 3.2. So the second reporting period would be adding up from 3 to 5.2 million ton. That we will reach target. And then total emission reduction and payment will be 8.4, and totally we expect to get something about 42 million US dollars in 2025. So the payment, as we have benefit sharing about this one. So we will go for the governance and then forest landscape, and then the livelihood of the project in the northern part. We have 6 northern province to conduct in this one. And then of course we have different partners to join this one. Main different partners for development and implementation as the RED Plus World Banks, FAO, JICA, GSF, and then we have South Korea now for the RED Plus project in the Smudong Hua South, and then it's about the subnational level in Pongsali that we signed MOU on this on 7. So ongoing activity to meet the mitigation target and the requirement for Article number 6 of Paris Agreement. One is the formulation of RED Plus implementation policy. So we have national RED Plus strategies. We have this one, and also we have the forestry law. It cover on mitigation activities, and then the RED Plus activity, and also carbon trading is already in the forestry law about this one. And of course, based on the above RED Plus implementation policy is focused on scales. We think about the national scales and also subnationals, and project can be nested into subnational and national. So to make sure that there's no double counting about it. And then of course the establishment of legal framework of carbon credit is really important. Now we are about to make the second draft of the Prime Minister decree on carbon trading. It's not exist in Laos nowadays. We have to come up with really clear legal framework, because it's the emission by sector is different sectors. There are 4 sectors. So then we need to come up with legal framework very clearly about this one. So we hope that in the mid of next year, this document is will be ready. We get support from GGIs to how to develop this one. Yeah. And then establishment of the multi-ministerial committees to develop legal framework, and also the lower legislation. Of course, one we have PM decree, and then you have to have the ministry instruction, so to implement the decrees. Yeah, and then this legal framework with respect to, as I told you, next year we should be ready. Otherwise, we are confusing and what to answer, what to deal with this different project and initiative already done. But when we come to this, is not clear. So the ongoing the activity to meet mitigation target, one is the by source of the for different drivers. So we have the Israel village forest management planning. This is dealing with the slash and burn of the local community. So in the law, forestry law, we need to make sure that the village forest management planning to secure land and use the right of the local community. So we need to do this one. And then the recently Prime Minister order number 11 is about the land encroachment of the forest and forest land encroachment and forest fire issues. So it's now is there in the PM 11. We need to somehow implement this one. And also expansion of the detection of the deforestation and forest degradation. We call provincial deforestation monitoring system (PDMS) in 15 province. So this one we need to make sure that we have a real time, to detect the deforestation and forest degradation. We have the system about it. Also, we established that timber wood product legality insurance system is about the illegal logging. So different source of timbers, we develop this one, and by assisting by the GIZ. So we do this one to make sure that timber should come from legal sources. Okay, the FIN project and program, we have the northern province, and we got funded from the GCF in northern province. So it's I did not say I did not show the picture, but previous pic and PowerPoint I showed it. It's in the northern is the Pongsali, that is the Skajong Kim already saw. It's Pongsali where Korea is going to work with some national level. In the below that is the 5 province, is 6 northern province, so it's covered by GCF funding. And also we have World Bank project is the Lao landscape livelihood project is LLLs, support by World Bank in 3 and 7 provinces, mainly in central part. This one's also dealing with the land use planning and then law enforcement and livelihood of peoples, living in the 3 forest category. This one is supported by World Bank, I think. And also we have the feasibility study of 7 investors. So now government open to the private sectors. The investor now there are 7 investors in conservation, protection, and protection forest. So we open to private sectors how to. Government alone cannot achieve the NDC. I think we have to collaborate with private sectors also. And also, as you Kajong Kim mentioned, signing MOU with subnational red part in Pongsali province is really for Lao to learn something together with South Korea, because South Korea is like a face-to-face G2G implementation of project. It's really important, I see. Technology transfers and many things we can catch up. We can learn from South Korea. That is a really important thing. So that's only my presentation. This the last condition for meeting height that we think that livelihood of the meeting of the current unconditional mitigation we see that is we are able to achieve by many projects implementing nowadays in the north, in the south also, and also the condition to meet the higher this one, of course, as I mentioned, it is capacity building is really important, and then the financial resources for for implement the mitigation activities. And at least you have to do something on to address key driver of deforestation and forest degradation. This sort of funding you have to do that. We just not to do on the some, let's say it's talking, not doing anything on the ground. This is really important. So with this, I would like to end of my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the great presentation, Dr. Opakun. And our next presenter is Dr. Martin Jansen, Head of Partnership of Rabobank. Please give her a big hand.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me here. It's a true honor to be here and to share a little bit about the ACORN proposition. The ACORN proposition is a proposition developed by Rabobank with the aim to stimulate farmers, particularly small-scale farmers, to make a transition to agroforestry. And we want to do that at scale because we believe that that benefits the farmers first and foremost, but will also support the countries where the farmers are active in, if we link them to the voluntary carbon market to result in an additional income and inflow into the country to support those countries in their NDCs and their commitments that they have made towards the climate goals. And we want to do this at scale. And in order to do that at scale, we look for knowledgeable, trustworthy partners. And therefore, we are very honored that we have signed an MOU with AFOCO earlier this year with the intention to jointly look at implementing agroforestry at scale. And for us, that's important. We believe that you need knowledgeable organizations that know the context and that know the culture to implement projects that are of quality. So having such partners is trivial in our work. So we're very happy, and that's actually a result of COP27, where the connection was made. So we're hopeful that was a good start for a lot to come. And this year is for us then the year of action, where we have signed an MOU, and I'll talk a little bit more about that with the government of Kyrgyzstan to really put our intentions into action. But let me first talk a little bit about what ACORN is. ACORN is an initiative, as I said, by Rabobank. And Rabobank is a food and agricultural bank, a cooperative bank established by farmers out of the Netherlands. Why do we do this as a bank? We do this because we are a food and agricultural bank. So that means that directly or indirectly, a lot of the farmers that we work with are smallholder farmers supplying to the value chain. And we believe it is important for a bank to play a role in also contributing to combating climate change and land degradation and food insecurity. But on the other hand, also work with the clients of our bank to reduce their emissions. And we think that we can make a match there. So what we try to do is to stimulate more carbon being sequestered from the air, particularly by stimulating smallholder farmers in planting additional trees on their farm. And we believe that planting trees, and I want to stress this again, it's not about the carbon market per se, but we believe in the benefits of agroforestry, diversity, climate resilience, and we believe that it is important to support the countries in meeting their goals by having private inflow into the countries. So that's why we think the carbon markets can be a great tool to be used. But at this point in time, using the carbon markets doesn't necessarily work for smallholder projects, particularly agroforestry projects. And that is where we try to innovate by, on the one hand side, making sure that the process of getting access to the carbon market becomes easier, ensuring that the cost of connecting to the carbon market are becoming lower, and ensuring that we're talking about actual substantial money flowing back to the farmers. And in order to do that, we need to increase the quality of those credits. So what did we do to reach that and to ensure that that is happening? We've drafted our own framework and methodology purely dedicated to smallholder agroforestry, to really ensure that the framework and the methodology suits what we're doing, and we're not trying to push a circle through a square, as we say that in Dutch, and I know it's a weird expression in English, but it's to say sometimes it's just not working. And that is why we decided to draft our own framework and methodology. Those are externally certified, which we consider to be important to adhere to quality standards, and that's done by Plan Vivo as a certifying body. Acorn has an umbrella certification, meaning that all of the projects that adhere to our standards and are measured following our methodology are automatically certified under the Acorn umbrella, meaning that individual projects don't need to certify, reducing the cost. And we use remote sensing data to remotely measure the growth in biomass. That reduces the cost if you do that at scale, but also increases the accuracy. And we're selling this as high quality credits in the market because of the traceability and transparency that we're offering, but also because of the co-benefits working with smallholder farmers. We've always said we're not selling below 20 euros because then the value is not sufficient for the business case to make sense. But at this point in time, we're selling for 35 euros per credit. And of that, we always make sure 90% flows back to the country. So Rabobank keeps 10% to cover for the cost of certification, monitoring and marketing, and 90% flows back to the countries. 80% should benefit the farmers. 10% of that can be used for the local partners to cover their costs as well. So as I said, traceability and transparency is key for us, and you can trace back individual projects and plots up to the level of a single plot, as you can see here, to ensure that that everybody can see what is happening and where the growth of biomass has happened. And fair payment to farmers is what drives us, and that's where that 80% comes from, resulting in an additional income on a yearly basis for the yearly growth of the biomass. So far, we've supported 240,000 farmers. We've sold 250,000 CRUs, carbon removal units, and that covered 250,000 hectares. But this is the start for us. We really are looking for large-scale impact, and again, that is where we are looking to you for, and where we hope that we can collaborate on. For us, it's really also about creating the demand, creating the supply. The demand for us is not so much of a worry. There's a lot of parties that have committed to reducing emissions, but they cannot compensate, or they cannot reduce enough, so they compensate as well. And they're looking for high quality. We oftentimes have to say, no, we don't have any carbon removal units available, so we're looking for more supply to meet that demand. And what might be important to mention here is that we're only selling to corporates that have a reduction policy first. So we're encouraging them to reduce their emissions first, but unavoidable emissions can be compensated with the carbon removal units coming from our program. And more there's actually proof that the companies that are offsetting are doing a lot more in reduction as well compared to companies not offsetting emissions. What we noticed is that in order to do this at scale, access to finance is needed as well. It's one thing to link to the carbon market, is another thing to have the financing to implement those projects. That's why Rabobank, together with partners, are currently setting up a financing vehicle to pre-finance those costs, where Rabobank itself has committed 50 million, and we're looking for additional partners to close that facility with, which is expected in Q1 or Q2 2024, with a first close of 100 million, hoping to further increase that going forward. We think we distinguish ourselves by making sure that the majority of the proceeds actually go back and flow back to the hands of the farmers, and that we're increasing the price to ensure that that value is actually substantial. But when we look at the loan facility, we also want to ensure that we're not burdening the farmers any further. So any loan facility will be on a non-recourse basis, meaning that we're only having a recourse on the carbon income and not indebting the farmers anymore. So far, what we've done so far alone, but we cannot go far enough and fast enough on our own, and we need partners. And as I said, we're very thrilled to have an MOU and to have received the team of AFOCO in the Netherlands to sign that MOU earlier this year in September, outlining a first step of our collaboration and partnerships, and to aim to reach and onboard 2.5 million farmers over the course of the next 10 years. That was not the start of a collaboration. We started earlier already with doing field visits to really understand where the potential was. And it was not the end of a collaboration, far from. So afterwards, some of my colleagues went and were invited at the AFOCO assembly to present the Acorn proposition and to explore how we could further work together. And we actually started with our collaboration in Kyrgyzstan a little bit later this year, a couple of weeks back, where we started to onboard the first farmers onto the Acorn platform. And that accumulated into an MOU that was signed earlier here at COP between our CEO and the MD of AFOCO, together with the officials from Kyrgyzstan, with the intention to work on 600,000 hectares of unproductive land to transition to agroforestry, and we're very excited about that. And we hope that we can do that with more of the AFOCO members. And that is why I'm here to express our commitment and really to hope to start further conversations. And perhaps back to the earlier presentation as well, I think this could very much complement any initiatives around RED+, which is about ensuring that the forest that is there will stay there. But this is really to focus on the farmers and to ensure that there's additional money inflow to support those farmers in more productive and climate smart agriculture. Way forward. So as we said, we started onboarding the first farmers in Kyrgyzstan, and we're starting this large-scale project in Kyrgyzstan with the project design starting in January. We want to do our first measurements in April to make sure that we can also illustrate that it is working and that we're delivering by measuring the growth in biomass, selling that, and making sure that there is initial payments going back to the farmers. And with that, have to prove and hopefully also the confidence from the other members to scale that to other countries. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much for the informative and comprehensive introduction of the Acorn program. And our last presenter is Dr. Pham Duc Chin, Director of Programs and Project Divisions of AFOCO. Please give him a big hand.
Good afternoon. I'm Public Chin from AFOCO Secretariat. My presentation in the afternoon today is AFOCO Climate Action Plan and cooperation with public and private partners. You can see from the figure saying that the climate change has been a serious problem worldwide today, and the world and Asia needs urgent climate action. Today we are lacking progress toward the Paris Agreement in 2015, limiting global warming to below 1.5 degrees Celsius by 2030. And then the current target in the NDCs need to be increased by 23 gigaton CO2 to achieve 2030, according to UNEP report 2022. And fortunately, we have the forest, and forest can have mitigation potential around 8 gigaton CO2 equivalent per year by 2030, and meaning that so forest can help contribute to achieve our target by 2030. And then now I'd like to introduce briefly about the AFOCO milestones. AFOCO, the Asian Forest Cooperation Organization. You can see from the table started from 2009 with proposal for establishment of AFOCO at the ASEAN and AOK, Republic of Korea. And then you see 2012, 2013, 15, and then until 2018. So the AFOCO, the Asian Forest Cooperation Organization formally established. And then you can see, and then 2022, last year, so AFOCO was admitted as observer of international organization to the UNFCCC. And here you can see from the map, so currently the AFOCO has 16 member countries, including 14 parties and 2 observers. You see from the northwest, south, east, and the central Asians. And at the moment we have had 43 projects with you see covering a wide range of focusing on forest reforestation, restoration, climate adaptations, forest disaster management, improving livelihood, and very important to improve capacity for member countries of AFOCO. You see, the vision of AFOCO is a greener Asia with resilient forest, landscapes, and communities, and with the mission to strengthen cooperation in forest sectors and to promote action-oriented practices and sustainable forest management through policy support, capacity development, and inclusive partnerships to address the adverse impacts of climate change. So here's a mission and vision and mission of AFOCO, the Asian Forest Cooperation Organization. AFOCO has the strategic priority from 2019 and 2023 with 5 priority areas focusing on forest restoration, you see, and research and development in climate change and adaptation approaches. And the third one also improving the management of forest, related disasters, and very important to improve livelihood improvement for local communities in our member countries. And the last one is very important as well, strengthening the institutional capacities, diversify resources, and to promoting regional actions. Of course, we are building, establishing, you see, the new strategies priority for 2024 to 2030. And later I will talk about the climate action plan involved in our strategic strategy. Through our various activities and projects, as I said before, that we have had more than 40 projects covering a wide range of topics. So we have quite lots of experience covering a wide areas from the north to the south to the west and the east of Asia, with 16 member countries in Asia continent. For instance, for the forest restoration field, so we have quite lots of projects dealing with this topic. For instance, you can see from the forest genetics research establishment for restoration in Cambodia to the mangrove forest rehabilitation in Vietnam. You see, from the inland forest to the mangrove forest, reforestation, restoration, and rehabilitation, dealing with the very important. For livelihood improvements, also very important. Almost all our projects focus on this one. Particularly, you see here, we focus on the community or called village-based forest rehabilitation in Laos, PDR, with great support from Dr. Upakont over there. And here, we also focus on the NTFP projects. Here, the regional project where we have 11 member countries joined in our projects in order to improve the livelihood. And that's why it's the indirect way to protect forest and so to reduce the carbon emissions. We also have experience about the forest disaster management. You can see here is the project about the forest fire, where we are implementing in the sub-Mekong region countries, Cambodia, Laos, PDR, Myanmar, and Vietnam. And you see from here, so the people are training how to rescue the forest fire and other disasters. Of course, with strong support from the Korea, not only for the funding, but also the techniques and new technologies. Here, the importance of the forest to the NDCs of our member countries, APFOCO member countries. So you can see from here, so for 14 our member countries, with the greenhouse gas target, we have 7, you see, cover all the forest. And also with 7 other countries with non-greenhouse gas target as well. Focus on, you see, forest restoration, rehabilitation, inland forest, mangrove forest. Very important, meaning that's a forest and increasing important for our member countries. Here, so now I move to, that's why Africa should focus on our 10-year climate action plan. Here we mention clearly about why and how. You see, in response to the climate crisis and in recognition of the critical roles of forest in mitigating crisis, AFOCO is pursuing the 10-year climate action plan 2025 and 2034 in order to have, the first one, a positive impact on member countries' carbon removal target, The second one is to make their economies greener, meaning that's so less carbon, CO2, and improve the community's well-being. And the third one, very important, to strengthen regional and inter-regional cooperation on Asian forest. For this action, climate action plan, we have three main actions. The first one is climate action. One is forest land restoration and rehabilitation. And our target is in 10 years, we restore and rehabilitate both the inland and mangrove forests around 100,000 hectares. And with the support, further support from the donors, we will target to 1 million hectares further of rehabilitation and restoration of forest, both inland and mangrove forest. The second climate action is very important. We focus on community, the local people, because they like not only the financial issues, but also the technical and knowledge as well. So in terms of nature-based community forestry enterprises, we intend to establish 100 enterprises from now until 2034, and also establish 20 villages, green villages in our member countries, AFOCO member countries. And the climate action 3 is very important, is to concerning with the digital innovation, meaning to covering the early warning systems, risk prediction to mitigate forest disaster risk. We intend to establish one system per country for all our member countries of AFOCO. And also to integrated forest data management system. We plan to establish a regional system for the whole member countries. That is a bit ambitious, but we are trying our best, because the data and the system very important in order to manage, to control, and to also to promote the carbon removal from our region and at first from our member countries. In order to do our three main climate actions, so we also establish and conduct the engagement dialogue and learning exchanges. You see from the global engagement, the high-level policy dialogues, exhibition and campaigns, and then conferences, workshops, trainings, and then you see we are planning to establish and operate the AFOCO Leaders Forum on Climate and Forest and Environmental Safeguards in status from 2024. Here, very important is cooperation, develop and strengthen cooperation with partners to achieve the goals of our AFOCO climate action plans. You see from the list on the table, so for instance, at the 75th UN General Assembly, AFOCO was granted observe. And then later on, you see, in 2022, so UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC, admitted AFOCO as observer intergovernmental organizations. And we also the membership of the Global Partnership of Forest Landscape Restoration. The associated partners of the forest, trees, and agroforestry partnerships by C4 and ICRAFT. And also the member officers supporting partners of the UN Declare and Ecosystem Restoration 2021 and 2030. So we are not only implementing our partner corporation to achieve our targets for the climate change action plan, but also to develop further. We also expand the network with private sector as the Rabobank here, you see, Rabobank, Uri Bank, SK Forest, and other private sectors. So because we recognize that yes, the funding from the government are very important, but we need further from the private sector. So we are willing to work with you, the private sector, in particularly for the field of carbon. Yes, like Rabobank focus on carbon removal. We are together and with member countries. Yes, and we hope we have good progress in the coming times. We have also very important the approaches to enhance financial and support measures. And you can see from here, so we consider various technical and financial partners from both public and private sectors. Very important. For instance, participated in climate action plan implementations, offering in-kind resources, donation, and partnership, for instance, and initiative specific multi-partner funds also can be considered as well. And innovative finance can drive transformative changes across landscapes. And you see later on is the web-based climate action matching from that the AFOCO is planning to establish soon in 2024, like I show you now. Here the climate action matching platform that AFOCO is with the member countries are planning to establish in 2024, with the purpose very clearly and very effective and very significant to facilitate the development and implementation of climate action plan for 10-year action plans, and also to enhance the linkage and to create synergy between mitigation, adaptation, finance, technology development, and transfer and capacity building, while contributing to their global Stocktake under the Paris Agreement. And the last slide is very important, that facilitating and participating in the global Stocktake to increase transparencies and progress and impacts of climate action. You see here is very important to facilitate collection, management, and sharing of data and information on forest status, climate action progress, and impact of AFOCO climate action plan in the member countries and partners as well. And also operational pathway activity, including data and information system for forest climate action information as well, sharing with member countries and with partners. And engage in UN convention and forums, reporting climate action progress and achievement. And yes, my brief presentation, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much to all our presenters. We are now entering to a panel discussion, so please raise hands when you have any questions or inquiries. We also take questions online and offline. Also, we have prepared some catering services. So when you are getting out of this venue and at the end of the event, please get one. It's located at the bar of that site. And may I now invite all our esteemed presenters to the sit over here. Please join us on our stage here and grab a seat when you have the name tint. Okay, we're now starting the panel discussion sessions. So please raise your hands if you have any inquiries or questions during their presentations when you might have thought of that I should ask these questions. Please raise your hand.
Thank you all so much for your informative presentations. That was truly eye-opening. I had a question for Ms. Martin Jansen. When you mentioned before about Acorn and how you felt the need to make your own unique framework for supporting these smallholders and farmers, could you maybe further explain why you felt that this was necessary and how this framework is different from any others? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that question. So we initially thought, let's see if we can work with existing frameworks and methodologies. But what you see is that there's not, or at least when we started, and I think to a certain extent that is still the case, there wasn't a framework or a methodology that was solely focusing on what we try to do. So working with smallholders, working particularly in agroforestry and using remote sensing as a basis of measuring and monitoring the growth in biomass. So looking at other frameworks and methodologies, we felt that sometimes it was too complex for smallholder-based projects to comply with all of the regulation that was there. And it didn't really fit the purpose. So there were certain things that you would need to report on that, in our mind, didn't really meet any goal, but was a lot of work, for example. And there were other things that we thought, oh, well, that is what you would want to see and monitor to ensure that you meet the quality standards and you sustain certain projects. So that is why we said, let's try to kind of look from the way of, okay, if we want to ensure quality, what do we want to check then? And how should you check that in a way that is efficient? But that doesn't do any, that doesn't reduce the quality of it. And the same goes with remote sensing. We were the first one to purely use remote sensing. So in methodologies that wasn't necessarily accepted at that point in time. So that's where we said, let's draft it ourselves. And we're quite happy with it. I'm not saying with us you don't need to do anything. There's no reporting. There's nothing that you need to do. It's still quite some work, but we think it fits the purpose a little bit better.
Any questions? Please.
I'm not so sure what's your name, but the lady from Akon, you seem to do the things without getting endorsed or certifying body like Vera or Global Standard. Would that limit you to sell at higher cost because you mentioned you sell at 35, but it's below the market price?
So we're selling at 35 euros per carbon per credit. It depends on what you compare it with, but in the voluntary carbon market, I think it's on the higher end of the pricing spectrum at this point in time. we are externally certified. So our framework and methodology are externally certified, but not by Vera or Gold Standard, but by Plan Vivo. That's a little bit of a lesser known organization, Plan Vivo. But they are very much focused on smallholder projects. So that is why we decided to work with them, also because they were open to certify the ACON program as a program instead of individual projects being certified. So in that sense, there is that external validation.
Thank you very much. Can I do the second question?
Yeah.
Do you actually work with your own community? You actually work with the others as well when you talk about the smart farmers that you're mentioning?
Sorry, I'm not sure if I
Do
understand.
you
the question.
work worldwide or you just only work in your community?
No, we work worldwide. Well, so far in Latin America and Africa and Asia and a couple of countries, but we're open to working in any country where regulation allows us to.
Any questions?
Okay, thank you very much for all informative presentation. I'm Yasumasa Hirata from FFPRI Japan. My question is the activity of APOCO. In your presentation, you introduced the activity of adaptation in digital, but do you have another activities or future plan? If you have, please introduce it.
Thank you very much for your question. Yes, of course, our projects focus much more on adaptations for forest restoration, rehabilitation, and improve livelihood, also capacity building. We also focus on the adaptation by the research on how to deal with the disaster management and to reduce the impact. And also, for instance, we also to do with the forest seedlings breedings in order to select the good species with those species can be adapted to the climate change. For example, you see increasing the temperatures for mangrove forest seedlings or inland seedling as well, and also to improve the livelihoods methodologies, livelihoods manners, and also the capacities in order to adapt somehow to adapt to the climate change as well. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your very informative presentations. My question goes to the Dr. Upakon. As a host country for the RED Plus implementation, what is the most challenging issues at current stage?
Thank you. The most challenging issue in country like Laos is the technologies to deal with MRVs and also technology about remote sensing, etc. And also the Laos the policies is forest dependent peoples. So the policy of Laos will not exclude people from the forest. So we have to manage and them inside the forest area. So the livelihood of them is purely depending on the forest resources. So the driver of deforestation, somehow we need to link with the income generation and livelihood improvement in the forest area. That is something. Another thing is the thing about the forest fires. It's a tropical climate, and then forest fire is really problematic in the country with low technology and also accessibility to the forest, large forest area is also the really problem for us. This is most challenging. Thank you.
Due to the time constraint, we will take one final question from the floor.
Thank you for everyone. I'm Oyun Sana from the National Forest Agency of Mongolia. So I would like to ask from the Ms. Ga Yuan about this. We had the Red Plus preparatory stage a few years ago, and now we are going to the implementation stage, but not yet the finding the funding in the security. So this is the issue that we are facing, and so with the cooperation with the countries in the Korean Forest Service or FOCO, and do you see the possibility? Mongolia was special that mostly the RED program went in the countries that in the tropical countries. Here is in this boreal, the ecosystem or ecotone is quite difficult to have, but still, we had at this stage and now looking for the opportunity to make it happen. The forest fire or pests and insects are the main driver for the degradation of the forest and so. Thank
you. Thank you very much for all the answers from our presenters. Due to the time limited, we'll close the panel discussion session, and may I now invite Dr. Pham Duc Chien for the closing remark where you are seated, sir. You can come to you, sir.
Good afternoon again. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, and okay, good afternoon, the third time. The side event of COP28 with the title Enhancing Climate Action in Asian Forest and Global Stocktake, co-organized by the Korea Forest Service (KFS) and the Asian Forest Cooperation Organization (AFOCO), has been very, very successful. The purpose of this event is to share ongoing efforts and to discuss for enhanced climate action in Asian forest. We shared the progress of the International Forest Cooperation and identified emerging opportunities for public and private partnerships. The tasks that lie ahead of us are urgent and challenging. However, I strongly believe that with your collaborative efforts, we can work towards building a more sustainable future. On behalf of the organizers, I would like to extend my gratitude to everyone who attended this very important event today. Particularly, I am very grateful to all participants for your active participation and constructive feedback throughout today's event. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank all our partners and observers countries, partners and supporters for your great support and contribution towards the success of our organization, the Asian Forest Cooperation Organization, AFOCO. Once again, I would like to express my sincere appreciation for your continuing support, and together let's take the next step in our journey towards a greener for all. Finally, I wish you a very nice and safe trip back home. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much for participating in the session today. This marks the end of the session, and please grab the catering service over there. It's all prepared, but it's not even untouched. So otherwise, it's gonna be a food waste left over a lot. So please get one or two as much as you needed. Thank you.